Now.
गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गना शॉट। गना शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। टुडे वी गोना टॉक अबाउट this hypersonic shock to China and beyond that. I've already done 2 or 3 videos on the effects of the hypersonic missile, what it is, everything. In fact, one I did with News 9, which I put out on Gana Shot. One I did with India Today, which I'll put the link in this description. And one an initial assessment. Actually speaking, there's not much one can talk about the missile itself because the details are sketchy. The full details have not come out, and obviously it will not come out. One. Number two, don't expect the moon out of this missile because it's the first firing. So much details won't be there. And for the DRDO itself, this will be a lot of input they would have got. A lot of things would have gone wrong also in this missile, let me tell you, right? From my experience. So, but what is certain is this missile went 1500 kilometers. There are reports Mach 9, Mach 5, Mach 7, Mach 8. It doesn't matter. It is hypersonic. One. Number two, one summer doesn't make a swallow. Or rather, one swallow doesn't make a summer. Ulta ho gaya. Right? So, one shouldn't think that this is a battle winning factor and everything else will revolve around this. No, this is just one more, missile in your armory. I've done a detailed analysis and published it in the, I think the IDS, in the St. George Journal. I'll put that link also. You can read it. On hypersonic missiles. While they can be battle-winning factors, they are not the battle-winning factors. There are other things to come into play. So we'll see the whole thing and how it has affected China and how it will affect China in the long run. Because our problem remains China and you cannot run away from it. So let me start by the reaction from China. Okay, I went to this website called guancha.cn. Why did I go there? Because no one else has given any opinion on it so far. South China Morning Post, China Mail, everything is. But Guancha has put 3 articles out. And this is in Chinese. And he talks of angering China. Is India angering China? As if, oh God. And is it worthy of India redefining hypersonic missiles? That is, as per this, we have redefined the, definition of a hypersonic missile. This is not a hypersonic missile. That's what they claim. Then there are 2 other missile articles, these are the English translations, not the original. Right? He says how many cattles and tails of India. Actually, both these articles, are derogatory articles about the whole thing. And as per them, this is not a hypersonic missile. But that's okay. I have no problem with it. Like I said, it's still gone 1500 kilometers. It has still gone hypersonic. It will hit the same Chinese boat wherever it is. Okay. उसमें लिखा नहीं होता कि मैं hypersonic हूँ. Okay. Now, what do they say? He says, this is the derogatory part. India is this. In fact, this derogatory part is the best part. Okay, that's why I'm reading it out. Otherwise, they're thrashed us. Like I'm thrashing them. That's part of the game. He says India is far less pragmatic than Iran. So we are one step lesser than Iran on the road to independent national defense construction. The low independent research and development ability combined with the expanding needs of Hindu nationalism. So he's conflated. Already he's biased. These chaps are biased. They have conflated Hindu nationalism, which doesn't exist, with our research. And it has given birth to an abstract military propaganda project. So this is all military propaganda, as for this idiot. Then he says India's technical capability in this high technology field are smaller than Houthi, Iran, North Korea, and Russia alone, leave alone China. China है किंग है वो. चाइना किंग है भाई, हम उसके साथ थोड़ा मुकाबला कर सकते हैं. It is suggested that India first understand the concept of hypersonic missiles. So he's telling यार तेरे को तू तो बेवकूफ है. That's what this Chinese fellows are saying. Okay, we have to take note of this. I'll tell you why. Okay, this there's one chap who's written this. It caught my eye. He says when it comes to India, it is all cynicism. Everyone is cynicism. He says it's not good to underestimate the enemy. Just as we don't underestimate China, they also feel that they shouldn't underestimate us. And this chap has sounded a warning. But the interesting thing is the Aam Janta considers India as the enemy. Remember this. China is my enemy. Just as India is China's enemy as per the common person. So all of us who are seeing this understand this is from a hardcore Chinese media outlet, a very popular outlet, completely nationalistic outlet. So you know where you stand against China in the next round. Okay. Now a lot of doubts have come, and a lot of doubts will keep coming. A lot of people have voiced doubts about this. So I did a little digging. I got this article of 2019. This is of 2019. Okay, and this is from National Interest. And yeah, let me expand it, and you so that your niece can read what he says. He says why India's hypersonic missile could trigger a nuclear war. This analysis they did in 2019. Okay, what did he say? He says at that point they said India's test of a hypersonic missile signifies more than the advance of Indian weapon technology. They believe it. From 2019, they've been tracking us. In fact, the first launch of the Hypersonic Technology Demonstrator Vehicle, or HSTDV, was a failure. Then he goes on to argue and says, unproven or not, the existence of an Indian hypersonic project is an ominous step for India's Cold War with its neighbor Pakistan. See, why Pakistan? Because at that point of time, everyone felt 2019 our relations with China were good. Everyone felt, no, we will never get into a war with China. But just switch the word from Pakistan to China. It is ominous for China. The gap is closing. Understand this. The gap is closing. Okay. Now, having said this, let's go ahead. Why waste time on? Look, a lot of people have said loosely in social media and many commentators, China has got a plethora of hypersonic missiles. It doesn't have, first and foremost. The only hypersonic missile it has is the DF-17. This one. This is the, right, let me switch it to a pointer. This is the DF-17. This is the DF-21D, which they say is a carrier killer. Both have a range of around 2000 plus minus. Both are hypersonic. This is a normal hypersonic ballistic missile. It's not, I repeat, it's not a cruise missile. It's not a glide vehicle. Okay. I'm clarifying these things. People are absolutely loosely using this nonsense. Okay. Now, this is ours. That's okay. But I'm not going to talk about this alone. I'll talk about this, but there's more to talk of. And that is what we need to understand. Okay. The first thing is, let's talk of the first thing is the missile capability progress which we've had all round. What all have we got in terms of our missile? And just in the past 1 year, in the past 1 year, India has made some tremendous progress. First, let's understand that. Okay, that's the first thing. Of course, in this entire series, first let me analyze the hypersonic missile test and what it means in the larger context. Okay, that's important. Okay. Now, what I did was I took 1,500 meters from the southern tip of India until where does it go? This one line doesn't give you any stupid thing, but it now see almost a large part of Indian Ocean is covered. If you take this missile somewhere on the east coast, say Chennai, you cover this, and then if you go to the Kutch Peninsula, you hit Oman. What does it do? Virtually, it puts the complete North Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal. I mean, you can go a little up to Odisha, and the entire Bay of Bengal will come into grip. Everything. Now, if you put a missile here, what's this? Andaman Nicobar. You will go across. And if you put a missile here, you remember sometime back I said there's a place called Agalega or Dukum, where Africa. Jai Hind Bolo. So, this is the kind of coverage you get. You control the entire Indian Ocean region with this missile. Add BrahMos, add other things. We'll come to what the other things are, and you'll understand what the story is. Look, this is the 2,500 kilometer range of theirs, TF-17. What does it cover? Okay. Now, this is what ours covers. Okay. Just right. But the fact is, you see the difference of the uh, the qualitative difference in this. And this is the geography. China has the curse of geography. The revenge of geography is on China. They can't cover anything. They barely will be able to cover Malacca Strait. But Malacca Strait, why would they like to cover? They want to go through Malacca Strait. On the other side, it's Blue Ocean. Max, they'll touch Guam, but Guam, it's very difficult to touch Guam and control it. Okay. And their first island chains. That's why they can't exit that area. Whereas anywhere from our Indian peninsula, with this missile system, you cover the complete Indian Ocean region. All the shipping lanes in the Indian Ocean region you cover. Just think, he can't cover one naya paisa worth of your own energy lines unless he uses longer range missiles. Oh, we'll not talk of it. Because if you talk of those, then you're looking at escalation. It will go into nuclear realm. Here, without doing anything, you are covering his entire tail. Right from the Gulf of Eden to right from the Gulf of Eden to the Malacca Strait. Happiness. So that's the qualitative difference you get out of this range which we achieved. Now people have to understand this. Okay. You will say, sir, Tibetan plateau में क्या है? वो उसके बारे में भी बात करेंगे. I'll talk of that also. Now let me talk a little about the Pinaka, which is important. You see, just last week, there's a second missile system. The first was the hypersonic. Second missile which we fired was the Pinaka. And what did we do in this Pinaka? Let me have a look at this film. One, a ripple of four, all in under 5 seconds. And a launcher has 12 capability of 12. It can let go 12 missiles or rockets in about 10, 12, max 15, 20 seconds. The volume of fire. This is like HIMARS. At this point of time, it's got 80 kilometers. Range extension हो जाएगा अगले 1-2 साल के अंदर. Then you will get 200, 250 kilometers. That don't worry. Oh, this is something which has got tremendous capability. It has been fired in the mountains and accurately. That I can vouch for. So and all this has happened in a matter of 10 days. Okay. No wonder. Okay. Now, just take these two missile systems or rocket systems and let us see what happens in Tibet. And I'll show you this in a bigger map. Okay. Now, when you look at Tibet, to say everything in Tibet can be engaged, not be engaged, that enemy can be anywhere, China is. But can he be everywhere? He can't. So where will he be? He'll be along the roads or off the roads. He can't go everywhere. So this is the road from Gormo to Lhasa. That's called the Central Highway also. Then there's one road from Lhasa which goes up to, that place, Kashgar, where it ends. Yeah. And it goes along the Nepal-Tibet border and India-Tibet border, cuts across Aksai Chin and goes right. Remember, in this whole story, Xinjiang or Hotan or Kashgar are just at 4,000 feet. And this area, right, this is the Depsang, Demchok area. This area is at 14,000 feet. He has to climb up and come out. Okay. Remember this when I analyze it a little further. Now, this is the Eastern Highway, which comes from Sichuan. So, actually, if you tie up these highways, or if you are effective on these highways, you finish him off. He can't move anywhere. Of course, he's got one, going from Gormo through the Gobi Desert, and then it comes up through Hotan. This is Hotan here, and it has to go to Kashgar, and then he has to come up. Okay, he's got one which goes from Kashgar, it goes behind and comes there. That's the thing for Xinjiang. Okay, and then this is the crux of the story, which you have to understand. What is this? This is the Kunlun Mountain. The Kunlun Mountains separate Xinjiang from Tibet. So any action in Tibet, he has to come from this and cross. He has to come through this highway only. वो हनुमान का पुत्र नहीं है, ऊपर से आ सकता है. So it's a choke point. You can choke him. Okay. And the other end is the Tian Shan Mountains. So this bowl from here will come under this little missile of ours. And this is where all his airfields and many things will be there. So he'll be in a problem there. Okay. Then this is the Himalayas. Okay. Now, anywhere along the Himalayas, this road completely Could be anything between 30 to 40 kilometers, the closest, and 100, kilometers. But normally it's about 60, 70 kilometers. Now, if you deploy your Pinakas, if you deploy your BrahMos, if you deploy your Smirch, and if you deploy this hypersonic, you will be able to cover this. And any offensive China wants to do, any action China wants to do against us, he has to come on this road. He can't, he can fire his long range missiles. So what if? Let him fire. Damage हो जाएगा लड़ाई में. But अगर हमारे अंदर आना है दोबारा, so he has to get his people in. To get his people in, he has to use these roads which I've shown. Tibet, the Kunlun Mountains and the Himalayas. In fact, yeah, Kunlun Mountains and the Himalayas constrain him to use only these roads in Tibet. These roads are actually useless for him. So, you can do conventional non-contact deterrence. So I'll have a separate episode on conventional non-contact deterrence, how to do it. But remember this word, conventional non-contact deterrence, which I will do later. Maybe next month, 10, 15 days later. Okay. And this, of course, is the, LAC. So from here, if you deploy your stuff, you can cover this entire area here. And then his movement, deployment, everything will be very difficult. You can hit his vital targets, but not with just one hypersonic missile. It has to be a combination. If you don't want to use your air, you have BrahMos, you have Smirch, you have Pinaka, you have, and in some cases, you might even use the guns. Even the guns give you 40, 50 kilometers range there or more. Okay, you get about 25 to 30% extra range at those altitudes. For example, a gun like Vajra, which has anyway 38 to 40 kilometers of range, you go there another 25% up, increase Karlo. So it goes to 50 kilometers. At 50 kilometers, some of these roads will be under its sight already. उसके ऊपर आप ये सब लेके आ रहे हो. So you have what I call a layered offensive capability, a layered deterrence capability. This gives you depth. And this gives you depth along with BrahMos, you add to gives you tremendous depth. Without losing control of escalation. And that's the crux of non-contact deterrence, which I will talk later. So we leave it at this. Okay. Next. I shown you Pinaka, Yevo, and all that. No wonder the French are keen to buy this. It's a beautiful system. I fired it. One of the best rocket systems going around. And that is why the Armenians have quickly gone and bought it, and the French are also requesting. It's as good as the HIMARS, the normal rockets. Yeah, there are questions. People say, sir, HIMARS has got some 300 millimeter, yet 200 millimeter only. But remember, there's an old adage in artillery. Smaller shells with larger quantity is bigger than bigger shells in smaller quantity. ये कहावत है artillery में. More small caliber shells will do more harm than less number of big caliber shells. So 210 millimeter is a huge caliber to cause hurt. And fired and especially a thing like Pinaka, which has guided and unguided capability. Guided capability gives you precision. Unguided capability gives you area coverage. But like I said, the HIMARS has the capability of firing a ATACMS missile, Army Tactical Missile System. which is 300, 600 millimeters, which is now yesterday was fired in Ukraine, right? With a range of about 300 kilometers. In Tibet, you don't need 300 kilometers. That's what you have to understand. You don't need 300 kilometers. You need this, you need this. And this is just about 150 kilometers. And some area here you should be able to cover. About 200 kilometers is hell of a lot in Tibet. An extended Pinaka will give you that capability. As it is anyway, BrahMos and this new hypersonic will give you that capability. Extended Pinaka will give you the capability of going en masse. That's what we have to develop. Okay. Now, the third missile which we fired earlier this year, with, if you remember, General Hasnain and I did a dialogue on that. How India pushes back China. What was that about? Agni with a multiple re-entry capability. I'll talk of this, explain this effect a little later. Then we tested the nearby land attack cruise missile. Okay, this is the fourth missile. That's number 4 missile which you have tested. ये देखो, ये इसका flight. This was a film taken from a Jaguar as this was flying. This is a subsonic missile. It's like Tomahawk. It does terrain hugging. Okay? Okay, and then we fired early in this year a supersonic missile assisted release of torpedo system. What is that? You fire a missile, and at the end, at one point of time, a torpedo goes out from that and it goes into water and hits the target. You don't need to always have this torpedo on a ship. But if you have on a ship, you get extra range from the torpedo. This is a canister-based missile system. It's got several advanced subsystems. It's got a 2-stage solid propulsion, got electromechanical actuators, precision inertial guidance navigation. It carries a lightweight torpedo as a payload with parachute-based release system. So it goes, a parachute releases the torpedo, and then the torpedo takes off. Because otherwise, the torpedo might not have the range. Just think, in 5 months, 1 year, you have fired 5 missiles. Isn't this something in your capability enhancement? Is it that all? No. We fired also early in the year air launched BrahMos. Okay. So if you see across the spectrum, there's a huge capability uplift you have. People don't understand it. वो ऐसे बकवास करते रहते हैं बेवकूफों की तरह. Now, let me explain this, and I'll, make it a little bigger. Okay. See this blue trajectory. This is the normal ballistic trajectory. This ballistic trajectory, you fire, it goes into the atmosphere, then it does re-entry and hits a target. No problem. This is the Agni, normal Agni. That is the ballistic trajectory. Then look at the violet one. It comes like this. It enters, then it does terminal maneuvering and hits the target. What is this? This is the multiple independent re-entry vehicles. That means after going into the atmosphere, somewhere here, it let go 3, 5, 10, I don't know how many re-entry vehicles. Each of them can hit a target separately, and each can maneuver to its own target. We have this capability also. Okay. Now, next is the HGV, that is the hypersonic glide vehicle, which goes like this. The thing is, it doesn't leave the atmosphere too much. Even if it does, it's at almost at the near space level. That's what we have fired now. And then the hypersonic cruise missile, which goes like this. Incidentally, there's no hypersonic cruise missile with anyone. The fastest cruise missile in the world is BrahMos. So you have this. So you have this, you have this, you have this, and you have this. What you don't have is a FOBS. What is FOBS? FOBS is fractional orbit bombardment system, which the Chinese have, which is out of the world. Let me tell you. What happens in that? A missile is fired into space. It goes around the Earth. It goes around once or twice, and then it makes an re-entry just over the target. Okay, so it's unpredictable completely. You don't have to fire, whereas in the rest of the cases, you have to fire the missile in the direction of the target. In the FOBs, you can fire it anywhere you want. Okay, any direction, so it's very difficult to detect it. Now, when the FOBs incidentally was fired in 2020, okay, they fired twice. Now, after that, so far they have not fired again. And when they fired once, I think it went about 20 kilometers away, once it went about 50 kilometers away. It has not been weaponized. They've just mastered the technology of fractional orbit bombardment system with a re-entry glide vehicle, which actually the Chinese surprised the whole world. Right? Give it to them there. But the rest of the capabilities you have already. Okay. Now, what is this composite assessment? What is the composite assessment out of all this? I'll go over it deliberately. Have a look. Okay. Now, the first thing is ballistic missiles with maneuverable re-entry vehicles. That's our Agni 5. Okay. The second is the subsonic cruise missiles. That's Nirbhay, which we have. And the third is a hypersonic boost glide missile, which we have just test fired. Now, when you make an assessment of all this, what happens? All three of them are accurate and maneuverable, which is great. We all have all three. Okay. And then when you look, there's the maneuverable, that is MIRV, maneuverable re-entry vehicles and subsonic cruise missiles are mature technologies. Luckily, we have both. Okay. The subsonic cruise missile, because it almost hugs the terrain, and the hypersonic boost glide missile, which we have now fired, it can survive against mid-course BMD. Mid-course BMD will not stop it. Terminal BMD is a different kettle of fish. Anyway, it can't solve. Right? Help. It has to catch. And these two are fast. The maneuverable re-entry vehicles and the hypersonic glide vehicles, they are fast, long range, and they can penetrate air defense and terminal BMD. And you have all three. So all anti-access, anti-area denial systems of the Chinese might fail with these three. A2AD bolte na, you can penetrate their A2AD. And it gives you your own A2AD. I hope you understood it. You have to look at it in the broader thing. Okay. Certain things I had discussed with Sandeep Punithan of News 9 Plus, which is there yesterday only morning I released it. Have a look at it, because that's a conversational kind of a explanation I gave in detail. Right? This and that will give you a complete idea of many things. What I've covered in terms of theaterization, rocket force, and all that, I've discussed with Sandeep Punithan. I'll not cover it here. Okay. Because I'm covering a larger spectrum, a different spectrum in today's discussion. Also, consider we've got the Arigat nuclear submarine. So that makes it what? A triad. You have the air capability, you have ground capability, you have underwater capability. And you got two of these now. You commission two. There are issues of communications, there are issues of surveillance, there are issues of uh, what they say ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. But that's okay. You need space reconnaissance. We're putting it in place. It's a work in progress. You have all these capabilities. Automatically, if someone will say, "Yeah, what's the use of having all these capabilities if I don't know how to communicate, get the target, and all that?" People are doing it. In any case, a lot of it is done. So you have a nuclear sub. Okay, we spoke of a missile capability expansion. Now we're talking about nuclear sub. This is the nuclear sub. The small clip. Before you say, यार ये nuclear sub होता क्या है? ये होता है. Okay. And then you've done something else. You're increased your export capability. You're increased your export capability of what? The Pinaka, which is already exported. Akash, the ATAGs, this, and BrahMos. So you're exporting 4 systems, and those bloody Chinese fellows, they think we don't know. Stupid characters. Just think. So when someone tells you tomorrow, okay, yaar, ye bewkufi hai, ye hai, wo hai, just think, why will someone buy an Akash from you? This is the Akash. And you have a complete system in Akash. This is the configuration of a Akash weapon system. Okay. ASPL, this is the, okay, have a look at it. For those of you who want to have a look, closer look. Yeah, they in a battery of Akash, there are 4 launchers, that is Akash self-propelled launchers. There's a battery surveillance radar, which keeps surveillance of all incoming aircraft. There's a battery control center, which controls all the missiles. Okay. There's a BLR, there's a battery locating radar. Surveillance radar and locating radar are different. And all this, it's got a range of 25 kilometers, an altitude of 10 to 15 kilometers. Quite a bit. Okay. All these features. It can take on multiple targets. It's a fantastic piece of equipment. People don't remember all this. When you talk loosely, you what does all this do? It also offsets your, you know, lack of, I wouldn't say lack, delay in procurement of aircraft. Missiles and aircraft are complementary. Look at Iran. Iran doesn't have an air force, but it projects power by missiles. I am not going to say that you don't need an air force. You do need an air force, and you need a very good air force. What are you lacking today? Fighter aircraft. I wouldn't say we are not lacking. We don't have them the way we want them. So you offset them with missiles. This is so indigenous completely. Technology है, सब कुछ है हमारे पास. So there is, when people say, oh, ye wo and all that, don't. And then at the bottom end you have guns. Just today, I've done a 40-minute session with Snehesh Alex Phillips of Print on guns. When it comes out either today or tomorrow, you might like to have a look at it. But after 3 days, it will be on Gunner Shot. Understand what I'm talking. Okay. When you see the entire thing analysis, you realize that we are a strong nation. We have our own technologies. We are exporting, and this export will increase. And please understand, भैया एक लड़ क्या एक बच्चे को पैदा होने के लिए भी 9 महीने लगता है यार. ये तो देश की बात है. Patient, patience, important. Okay. Now, let me give you another capability which we have. We have all this. We have international cooperation also. When this international cooperation, the Chinese chap should understand. वो एक नेवी लेके आता है. He can't leave his वो जो first chain of islands. You do it from Gulf of Aden to Malacca Straits. कहीं भी घूमते हो लफंडर की तरह, दादा की तरह. Okay, let's see what this international cooperation is. Malabar is 2024, we did this year only. This for everyone's information. This is Visakhapatnam. Okay, so that was awesome. 4 navies. It's very nice to say, यार navy में वो कुछ है नहीं. 4 navies. The one of the four. I mean, put all four together. You have one of the most powerful naval exercises being carried out every year. और चाइना वाले को हाइपरसोनिक शॉक वो हाइपरसोनिक से नहीं इससे मिलता है रोज हर साल. Every year he gets one shock when Malabar exercises go on. Who hosts it? India. Okay. Now we'll talk of mobility enhancement. I mean, this is something which not many people understand. I'll explain it. Right? Okay. Again, it's a map. So just have a look at the larger thing so that you understand. Right? See, we have this Atal tunnel at Rohtang, 24/7. Okay? Right. Everyone knows this. This is the Shinkula tunnel. This is the North Portal. Now, once Shinkula comes, what happens? I'll explain to you where Shinkula is. Just see, we are built. This by next year, it is going to be get through. And this is Zojila tunnel. Now, these three tunnels, what do they do? That's the next question. Now, this is the map of J&K. Okay. Right, all the roads and all. But let me explain slowly. This road is the standard road. Jammu, okay, Jammu, Srinagar, Zojila to Leh. I'll take it out. Dekho. Okay, that's the old road, NH1 Alpha. तो यहाँ कारगिल है, यही इसी रोड के ऊपर कारगिल की लड़ाई हुआ था. Okay, there's another road, the Upshi Manali road. Okay, that is this road. Comes from Chandigarh, goes to Manali, then goes to Baralachala, and then it goes to Tanglangla, Upshi, Leh. This is the alternate route. When I used to serve there, this route used to be open only for about 3 months or 4 months in a year. Now it's almost open throughout the year. Almost, not fully. Okay. And then there's one new road which is being constructed. The road is ready. This is from a place called Darcha. It goes to Padam and it goes to Nemo. It cuts across. It gives another route. Okay. Where are these three tunnels? This is Zojila tunnel. This is the Shinkunla tunnel. And this is the Atal tunnel. The moment these three tunnels, out of these three tunnels, Atal tunnel is ready, Zojila and Shinkunla tunnel will be ready by next year, max till 2026. When these are ready, you are through. Your infrastructure to a large extent is ready. But that's not the only thing. This is in the northern sector. So, reinforcement and all that into Leh is ready. Okay, then you see, go to Arunachal. This is the road from Tezpur to Balukpong to Bomdila to Dirang to Sela, Tawang. The major problem is Sela. Sela is at 14,000 plus. Okay. Yeah, we have the Sela tunnel, which was inaugurated by the Prime Minister last year, and which Chinese objected to. So if you see your ability to move up troops and withdraw troops at will, change over troops, everything is now falling in place. A matter of 2-3 years. So those who think that enough is not happening should understand better. Right? Okay. Now, this is a reaction again from China. Very interesting. The one on the right, the thing on the right, आप इसको देखो. आज सुबेरे I put out a video called Lament of the Dragon. It's just hanging between the tiger and the eagle. This is the tiger and the eagle. This is the article which came out. As US and India line up in second Trump administration, China could be targeted. This is a South China Morning Post thing. And the same thing in a different words has been put in Guancha. The Chinese are already worried. उसको शौक सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि भाई हमने इंडिया ने ये हाइपरसोनिक मिसाइल फायर कर दिया. उसको शौक तो ये है कि ये सब इन्होंने पिछले 1 साल में, बिकॉज ऑल दीज आर इन पब्लिक, ऑल दिस इंफॉर्मेशन आई गॉट इट फ्रॉम पब्लिक डोमेन. उसके पास तो एआई है भाई, वो सब कुछ वो एआई में बोलता रहेगा. He'll do all this in AI and come out with his own intelligence to know यार ये बड़ी इंडिया है, ये उसके ऊपर ये देखो. और ये this story, what do you think this is? You think this is a rat or a dragon or a reptile? वो क्या है ये? चचुंदर है क्या है ये? So this is also there. He's worried. देखा? So this is what I put out yesterday. Is this a lizard, a rat, or a dragon? You might like to want to have a look at it, right? This is a lizard, rat, or a dragon, whatever it is. It just tells you how the Chinese think of themselves. I put this out. I'm repeating it. I put this out in a video today morning. Have a look at it. Have a look at that video. Have a look at what they have written in these two articles. Both the articles are almost identical. Of course, one in Guancha is Chinese. This is in English. And then this is the thing which, recently on the sidelines of the G20 summit, our External Affairs Minister and Wang Yi met. This is the thing which had come out. What's the interesting part? Among the steps discussed were the resumption of Kailash Mansarovar Yatra pilgrimage, data sharing on trans-border rivers, that is Brahmaputra and Satluj, direct flights between India and China, and media exchanges. So it is not one-way traffic. We also put कि भाई ये सब होना चाहिए. And then our External Affairs Minister said that we are strongly committed to a multipolar world, including a multipolar Asia, which Chinese don't like. China wants only unipolar Asia. multipolar world, unipolar Asia. We have very said we want a multipolar Asia. And we have also in our readout, we have said we are against unilateral approaches to establish dominance. It's a very clear message. Hypersonic shock अकेला नहीं है. It's not, the shock is not just of hypersonic missile. वो तो एक है. देखो see across the entire spectrum what is happening. Okay, diplomatic, infrastructure, military, missiles, international cooperation, military to military, all this. Now add, okay, anyway, this is over. Add to this the fact that we are the fastest growing economy. There's no doubt in that. Just think, as things evolve with the Trump administration coming in and all that, we'll discuss all these issues more. The issues are going to get complicated. For whom? For China. Okay. But at this point of time, I'd like to put a few things across, which are important for all of us. I've always believed one thing. India's strength are its people, we the people. We draw strength from each other. The Chinese do not. Already for the first time, there are problems in China. I put out a video the other day about the night biking, knifing, and all that. There are more happening. So I will take out another video maybe on Sunday. We'll discuss this. Social unrest in China. We the people are always in social unrest. अभी कभी election होता है, कभी कुछ होता है, कभी कुछ होता है, कभी मणिपुर में लफड़ा होता है, कभी चेन्नई में होता है कुछ प्रॉब्लम. हमें तो ये नॉर्मल है यार. उसको नॉर्मल नहीं है ये. उसकी फट रही है. ओके, उसके फट के हाथ में आ जाएगी. ओके. And also realize we don't lack anything. We don't. The government has to pull things together. That's my only problem with our government. If our politicians, if Mr. Rahul Gandhi and Mr. Modi sit together like a prime minister and a leader of opposition, and we support both of them, ये देश तो कहीं पहुंच जाएगा यार. अगर मेरा ख्वाहिश है तो यही है. It's not a matter of Mr. Modi or Rahul Gandhi. It's not a matter of individual. It's a matter of our prime minister and the leader of our opposition sitting and talking and presenting a joint face. Okay? That's the thing. Then you'll get political clarity. The day you get that political clarity, it's not that we have less political clarity, but the day you have this thing, then it's a whole of government approach. Okay? And also then you'll start thinking of increasing defense expenditure. Definitely the freebies which we give in elections can reduce and give to the, where we want. You increase your defense expenditure by a little amount and you see where we'll reach. And we need to do the small things well. छोटे-छोटे चीज जो है ना वो important है. You can have a great pant with the best cloth, but अगर उसका zipper ठीक नहीं है तो फायदा क्या? Small thing. Okay. And two things more. One you need is a good national security strategy. Every day you are adding a capability on. So what is your national security strategy is something which we had to decide. And then the second thing which we have to have is a doctrine for conventional non-contact deterrence. Non-contact conventional deterrence, about which I said I'll talk in another episode. So it's been a long session today. I know that. I'll take questions now. And I'll take just a few questions. I'll not take all questions. Right? I hope you don't mind. And we'll continue. Maybe Sunday we'll have open session. We can talk all this again, right? Those questions which I find interesting, I'll answer. Okay. At the outset, uh, Nikhil Godbole, thanks a lot for becoming a member. There is KV Mavi, also thanks a lot. Partha has a question. He says there is increasing speculation France wants Pinaka to use against Russia. Alternately, it can be attempts to tempt us to kill, insert quills. No, I don't think we should bother about all this, Partha. At this point of time, they're interested. They're just interested. There's a long way to go. My experience is from the time the interest is shown to actual, a weapon being delivered, will take anything 5 to 10 years. So don't be in a hurry to draw your conclusions. Just don't be in a hurry. Okay, that's the thing. See, Akash, the LOP and his ilk have private dealings with the enemy. He has signed, and no, he has signed 20 years back. Yeah. Get out of your own cobwebs. Don't get fixed by what something happened. We have to move on. Okay. Yeah. Uh, Thank you for such a deep analysis. Yeah, yeah. This is a nice one. I think we live in chaos every day, so we are problem solvers. Your views, I agree with you. We find, logic in our own chaos. So chaos doesn't affect us. Chaos affects China, and they are okay. Let me give you a thing. When we were doing the National Defense College course, there's a Chinese chap who came and spoke with us. So he said cooperation, we should all go together, yeah, all that. Okay, that's fine. So we kept listening to him as a Chinese colonel. And then he 2 3 times in the course of his talk, he said, you go outside and see on roads, you see a cycle chap going, you see a car going, you see a bus going, you also see, the Bailgadi going, all that. Everyone goes together. Yeah. So he said this about 4 5 times, cooperation, this, that, yeah, and the same thing he was repeating. So at the end of that 1 hour of talk, then suddenly all of us realized, कि यार this chap is psyched. इसको ये पता नहीं चल रहा कि ये एक ही रोड के ऊपर ये सब कैसे चल रहे हैं. चाइना में नहीं हो रहा होगा. ठीक है ना. सो वो बाइक में भी जा रहे हैं, ट्रिपल एलेट्स भी जा रहे हैं, 2 बंदे भी जा रहे हैं, एक बच्चा भी जा रहा है विदाउट लाइसेंस. ये सब चलता है. पॉइंट इज राइट. We live in chaos, so we are not this thing. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Sir, in hills, even road and tracked weapons could be sitting ducks. Mobility will be compromised. Isaac, I don't think you have been to the hills to understand. First and foremost, in hills, you don't take tracked weapons. They're no use. Okay. And in hills, you dig in. Okay. Second, it's very difficult to hit a road in the hills, especially on our side. You see, there's a difference in our side and the Tibetan side. On the Tibetan plateau, the roads are flat. You can hit, and people have capability of deploying astride the road. In our case, that doesn't happen. In our cases, the roads are like this. The road is in between. If that missile comes, it misses the road, it will go down. If it misses the road, the other side, it will hit the top. This is a fact. In our case, the missile or whatever has to miss a road or something by just about 4 or 5 meters, which is the normal CEP. There's no CEP which is actually dead on, never. So we are well protected. People don't understand terrain. You have to live on terra firma, not in imaginary things. Okay? And you dig in, right? You can't run away. All this nonsense of shoot and scoot nahi hota mountains mein. You shoot, but you dig and shoot and fight. There's a different story in high altitude. अल्टीट्यूड में एक जगह से दूसरे जगह जाओगे, कहाँ भागोगे बेवकूफ की तरह. So this is what it is. How many engineers are employed in the Ministry of Defense who make decisions on budgets, procurement? See, uh, the whole story of budgets, procurement, everything is quite well laid out in our ministry. The problem is bureaucracy and our political will to uh, give out the budget. We keep saying, no, no, this money will give to all these schemes, poor schemes, all that. So while that is good, I have no problem. In fact, we must give social security schemes, and but too many freebies are bad. That's the problem. Okay. Yeah, please add rail connectivity. Yeah, rail connectivity is there. So what's great about that? Okay. While appreciating the steps we have taken in missile, keeping in perspective maximum damage to targets and battlefield, management jet enabled 155 would be a good fit. Yes, it will. It'll add. So have a look at that with video which I've done with Snehesh. Okay. Okay. How accurate are these rockets? At these speeds, can we ensure any changes in the trajectory or the target? This is something which I'll not talk of, but they are reasonably accurate. But what you said is right. You need to have the kill chain. There's something called a kill chain. You have to get that kill chain well, and you have to get the for that you need a ISR system in place. That's a work in progress. What happens if we expand range from 1500 to 2500 to 3000 kilometers? You extend range. That's about all. Will the new hypersonic missile cheaper to manufacture than BrahMos? यार अभी तो वो शुरू एक ही फायर किया है. आज there another problem with Indian ना, when the baby is born ना, you want him to become Isaac Newton. होता नहीं है. आराम करो, सबर करो. Was waiting for your expertise on the subject, sir. You have developed interest in geopolitics from hands-on experience. Yeah, yeah, I have developed interest in geopolitics being hands-on, and I also developed expertise in weapons being hands-on. Um, no, one thing good about a Fauji is no, he's rooted to the ground. हम हवा में नहीं बात करते. When will we get scramjet propelled weapons? Yeah, this is scramjet only. What do you think this is? Hypersonic. You can't do hypersonic without scramjet. Obviously, it indicates, yeah, just, okay, you ask too many questions. Okay. Yeah, what advantages? You can fire hypersonic weapons. Right. So, most of you, I find, while you ask questions, I have no problem. I mean, obviously, people don't know. But what happens is you read from all third rate sources and then ask questions. That's half knowledge. It's not even half knowledge. Many of you have quarter knowledge. I can make out. Okay. Then you read, you go to some talks and pocs and all these third rate channels which don't know anything. Honestly, they get some fool to talk to you. And that fellow, he, you need a lot of knowledge to talk with authority on these subjects. I'm not joking. Have a look at that video which Snehesh Alex Philip does. He'll be putting it out either tonight or tomorrow about 155 mm. I spent 40 minutes with them. Have a look at what I spoke to Sandeep Punithan. Match the two. Then you'll understand what it takes. I think our recent test of MIRV and hypersonic has created enough. Yes, it is. There's no doubt. Okay. Yeah, today Vijay Gokhale has done a good session on China's economy and military on global order. Yeah, all the best. He's good. He's a good man, right? Honestly, in missile technology, how much China is ahead of us as we think that we are at par? No, there's no problem in technologies. Let me tell you, Kalrav, we have adequate technology. They've put in a lot of money to get a lot of things, right? Now they've also landed in moon with, and we've also landed on moon. You have all the technologies. I told you the only technology which you don't have is the FOBs, which will get. That's one. Secondly, what do you do with technology? It has to be effective and it has to be put to effect. Now, just by having greater technology, will it be effective? I showed you. He's got job. You have geography on your side. Use it. भाई लड़ाई में ना किस तरीके से जीतते हो उससे मतलब नहीं, जीत हासिल करना है, वो जीतेंगे हम, फिक्र मत करो. Yeah, Amitesh, I want to tell you, do you agree with Kishore Mehbubani views on China? Kishore Mehbubani is a bumsucker of China, yaar. Why should I listen to him? He's a useless fellow. And I hope you go and show him this, what I'm saying. Okay, I have finished today with, I think, yeah, your anecdotes are sarcastic to the point. I agree. I'm very clear. I was known even during service. Uh, I don't mince my words. Yeah, right. So, can FOBs be countered by ASAT? No, not possible. ASAT is for space. FOB, if you know, the problem with FOBs is the chap will launch. You don't know where it is. How do you catch it? If you can catch it, you can hit it. The problem is in catching it. The thing with ASAT is you have to understand. You track satellites, you know the tracks, so you keep tracking it and you develop a method of engagement. You don't hit a thing in space just like that. The problem with FOBs is you don't get time to track it and you don't know where he's gone. And mind you, LEO, for your idea, LEO going around the Earth does so in 15 minutes to 30 minutes. So when you put a FOBs out, okay, in about 30 minutes he's on top of you. That's the problem. Strategic command is under CDS or PMO, it's under CDS. Yeah, thanks. Your IO analysis is eye opening even as a business strategy. Yes, definitely. A lot of business goes on security. So, what you can do, what you can't do, business will count. You see, if your security is good, people will invest in you. As simple as that. Now, people know that you are a foil for China, people will invest in you. And we'll talk of it tomorrow. We'll talk of it tomorrow with the Narayanan. I'm sure he'll talk. I know what he's going to talk. That's why I put all these subjects. See, folks, let me put it. Ever since, the LAC, talks took place or disengagement has taken place, and I wouldn't say disengagement. The patrolling situation has improved in Demchok and Depsang. If you notice, I've focused more on China. I focus on operational issues. And I'm focusing on not only operational issues, on what's happening in China. So tomorrow we're going to see China is declining. What will we have to do on our LAC? What will we have to do in the IOR? That's what we're going to discuss tomorrow. Come join us tomorrow evening. I'm going to press on. And plus, now what has happened is you have a Trump administration that's going to have a major effect, and we have a role to play. And we have to believe in ourselves that we have a role to play. Otherwise, ऐसे ही लटकते रहोगे बेवकूफों की तरह. Okay. Yeah. Respected General Sir, I studied amongst the Chinese in university and felt that the dragon is mythical while our elephant stands on terra firma. I completely agree with you. But not only dragon, today is no more the elephant. It is a tiger, na? उन्होंने तो दिखाया था tiger. Should right? So it's a tiger which is thing. Okay. Now let me show the tiger again to you. Right? The tiger. Now India is a tiger. Okay? Right? India is the tiger now. With no more the elephant. And it's वो reptile को लटका रहा है. Okay. I think we've had a great session. So we will continue this tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow evening you people will come and get more. My request again is to all of you to subscribe to the channel, join in, and have an exchange. I entertain maximum number of people, right? Yeah, this is right. It's a dragon turning out to be a lizard. Marawa lizard. So that's about all. Oh, so I'm done with today. So till tomorrow evening with General Narayanan. Till then, good evening and Jai Hind to all of you.